Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Hey, welcome to Robot's Backpack, where I'm about to juggle funny stories, questionable life choices, and a few jokes that my mom insists I retire while I play and try not to embarrass my thumbs. Today I'm telling you about the time I accidentally joined a marathon, my grandma's suspicious Wi-Fi password, and why I once tried to microwave an ice cube. Buckle up, this is going to be delightfully chaotic. So, I grew up thinking meal prep meant staring into the fridge until a personality appeared. One day I tried to be that organized adult with labeled containers. Monday, hope. Tuesday, regret. Wednesday, 2 grapes and a dream. I even set an alarm called Eat Better. The alarm went off, and I ate better, pizza, but with spinach. I call that balance, the yoga pose of nutrition. Speaking of balance, I once attempted meditation. The app said, empty your mind. My brain said, okay, quick question, where do socks go when the dryer chooses violence? Then the neighbor revved a lawnmower that sounded like a tractor auditioning for a metal band. I tried to breathe through it, but I inhaled a fruit fly and achieved enlightenment through panic coughing. 10 out of 10, would not recommend, but my aura did a hard reset. I learned sarcasm from my grandma. Her Wi-Fi password is you never call. You type it in and immediately feel guilty enough to phone her. Last week she told me she did a cleanse, which turned out to be deleting my selfies from her phone. I'm decluttering, she said, sipping tea, judging me with the authority of a librarian who can deadlift. She's 82, plays bingo like it's the stock market, and used my gym membership more than I did. She texted me, your core is lazy. I replied with an selfie. She wrote back, filters are not crunches. I accidentally joined a marathon once. I thought it was a fun run for charity. Great, I love charity and I adore fun. 2 miles in, a man with calves like Greek statues passed me while eating an orange. I tried to keep up, but my knees were like, we're decorative, not functional. A volunteer handed me a cup of water. I tossed it over my head to look athletic. Missed. Poured it directly into my ear. Hydration achieved, dignity evaporated. At mile 5, a kid with a sign yelled, go, random person. That was my Olympic moment. I crossed a random timing mat, got a participation banana, and immediately cramped in a language my body invented on the spot. I have this special talent for buying gadgets that need other gadgets to work. I bought a smart scale that syncs to an app that syncs to my existential crisis. I stepped on and it told me good morning, which felt personal. Then it asked if I'd like to set a goal. Yes, scale, I'd like to set a goal to stop being judged by a rectangle. Meanwhile, my blender has more settings than my personality: pulse, crush, liquefy, emotional damage. I pressed smoothie and it sounded like a helicopter trying to escape a salad. Quick story, I tried meal kits. The instructions said, chop the onion finely. My eyes said, we're evacuating. I wore ski goggles in my kitchen like I was about to downhill slalom my way into a stir fry. The recipe called for a pinch of salt. I pinched it so hard the ancestors coughed. The final dish tasted like a TED Talk about ambition. I ate it while making eye contact with the microwave, who knows all my secrets and still ticks for me. By the way, if you're hanging with me, subscribe to the channel. I promise I'll keep serving spicy stories, questionable skills, and jokes that are at least 30% dad, 70% chaos. I have a complicated relationship with alarms. I set one called Wake Up, Champion. Another that says, seriously, get up. And a final one labeled, you've made choices. One morning I woke to a polite chime and thought, peace. Then my neighbor's car alarm joined the orchestra, and my cat, who I don't even own, screamed outside my window. I don't have a cat, but apparently I've been adopted by a neighborhood feline with the soul of a drama teacher. He visits nightly to judge my life through the glass. I tried to shoo him. He blinked in slow motion, like, you think you own the lease on confidence? I once tried to hack productivity with the classic, just do 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'd reorganized my spice rack alphabetically, found 3 expired nutmegs, and written a sonnet to procrastination. Meanwhile, the task was untouched, sitting in the corner, vaping resentment. I finally did it, and the sense of accomplishment was so strong I rewarded myself with an hour of scrolling people building tiny houses for squirrels. I don't have a squirrel, but if I did, his mortgage would be reasonable and his kitchen would have a farmhouse sink. Midway reminder, stick around to the end, because I'm telling you the ridiculous truth about the time I tried to be romantic with a surprise picnic and the universe hit me with a plot twist so hard even Netflix used to label the fridge with motivational notes. You are enough. Beautiful sentiment. On a lasagna? Now it's philosophy pasta. I left him a reply on a bag of baby carrots, or just small orange truths. One day he replaced the water jug with cucumber water. I drank it and instantly felt like a spa influencer named Bliss. I started speaking softly to plants and apologizing to furniture. I'm sorry, chair, for all the emotional support you provide. If you've never said thank you to a chair, try it. Your posture will file a complaint in cursive. Let's talk childhood logic. As a kid, I thought quicksand would be a bigger issue. Cartoons had me training like I'd be commuting through a desert swamp in a suit. Meanwhile, Adult Life's Real Quicksand is a subscription you forgot to cancel. You click Manage Plan, and the website sends you on a pilgrimage through 4 menus and a security question from 2009. What is your favorite teacher's favorite animal? Sir, I barely remember my own passwords. I put dolphin and it says incorrect. Now I'm doubting my identity and Mr. Lewis's personality. I once auditioned for a commercial. The casting call said, regular guy, comfortable with sports. I showed up in sneakers and optimism. The director handed me a basketball. Just dribble and look natural. I dribbled once, the ball took off like it was late for a flight, and I chased it with what I can only describe as Victorian panic. They asked for a second take. I said, what if the character is allergic to gravity? Didn't book it, but I did book humility. Travel story, I flew economy in a seat so small my knees were networking with my chin. The guy next to me fell asleep with his head on my shoulder like we were college sweethearts. I didn't move him because I crave human connection and also my arm was pinned under a tray table. The in-flight snack was pretzels that tasted like they were mad at bread. The pilot said we might experience light turbulence, which is pilot 4 we're about to do the samba at 30,000 feet. I pretended to be calm while clutching in ginger ale like it was a talisman from the ancient gods of not throwing up. Okay, romance picnic time, the payoff's brewing. I planned everything. Cute blanket, artisanal cheese, strawberries, a playlist that said, I know feelings. We arrive at the park, sun shining, doves auditioning in the background. I spread the blanket with the flourish of a magician, and immediately a gust of wind turned it into a runaway kite. I chased it, it somersaulted into a jogger who, judging by the glare, was allergic to whimsy. We regrouped. I opened the fancy cheese like a gentleman thief. That's when a squirrel eyes wild, dealt shredded, sprinted onto the scene like a tiny linebacker. He snatched a cracker, then called for backup. I swear he whistled. 5 squirrels appeared like a furry heist crew. I tried diplomacy, listen, fellas, we can share. They heard take everything. One launched onto the baguette. My date laughed so hard she cried. I tried to be suave and said, nature is generous. She said, your baguette is gone. The squirrel flexed. I conceded. We ate strawberries while our new landlord monitored us from a branch. After that day, I realized romance is 20% planning, 80% improvising while squirrels judge you. And honestly, that's life. You plan, the wind flips your blanket, a rodent steals your carbs, and you end up laughing anyway. That's the vibe I want here. We roll with the chaos, and we come up with a story worth telling. Before we land this, here's a quick micro-gag sampler. I bought a candle called Forest Whisper. It smells like regret and pine. My mirror has 2 settings, criminal lighting and witness protection. I once tried to learn guitar. Now I can play the opening to every song and the ending to none. My plants are alive out of spite. I asked one how it's doing. It drooped further, like, thriving. I own 3 different jackets for temperatures that don't exist. And yes, I did try to microwave an ice cube to see if I could make it warmer without melting it. Science said, no, and also, are you okay? Alright, Closing loop on that picnic, the final twist. After the squirrel heist, we packed up what was left, basically vibes and a berry. As we stood to leave, a kid pointed at us and shouted, "The bread bandits." His mom said, "Honey, that's just a couple learning boundaries." And then, this is true, my runaway blanket floated back like a white flag and landed on my head. I stood there like a discount superhero named Captain Compromise. My date took a photo and set it as my contact picture. We're still together. The squirrels? They sent a thank you note in acorns. You made it to the end, and the final payoff is this: every disaster is a punchline waiting for timing. So if today goes sideways, congratulations, you're in the setup. I'll see you in the next one, same energy, fewer squirrels, maybe. Subscribe to the channel for more chaos with a heart, and if you laughed, drop a like or a comment and tell me your weirdest picnic fail. Until next time, I'm out and I'm hiding my baguettes.